Do you think this reflects how society teaches young women to value comfort and luxury over peace of mind? And how can we change this narrative?
Okay, I could sing the song for you if you don't mind.
No, please sing it.
You know, they said, I'd rather be crying in a Bentley, sipping on my Hennessy, drying my tears with some dollar bills.
Wow.
That is such
Thanks for enlightening us.
That is such a demonic phrase that unfortunately has eaten deep into the society. It's not just about Regina Daniels. Every young person out there wants to rather cry in a Bentley, in a Benz. And that's why you see even young men go into fraud, you know, go into rituals, do things their fathers would never have dared because they rather cry in a Bentley. They fail to realize that success, you build success. You don't jump into success. When you climb into success, you get to the peak. But when you jump, you come down. That is a phrase that has eaten so we don't even know, we can't say enough how deep it has eaten into our society. People now prefer to be enslaved and imprisoned in houses with golden ceilings instead of to be free under the sky. Regina Daniels sang that song, but we can't really say if she sang that out of convention or out of fear or out of validation seeking. It is a problem, whichever reason made her sing that song, because I remember seeing that post on media and I just laughed. I told someone beside me, I said, this lady is in pain. You know, people now prefer to mask their pain with such songs, with such quotes. You know, they tell you tears is tears. My dear, tears is not tears. There are some tears that breeds growth. There are some tears that breeds regrets. Tears like this will oftentimes make you regret. And I would not want to speak for Regina. I don't want to be judgmental. But you see how I hope our young persons now are learning lessons from what she's going through. You know, I hope they now realize that tears is not tears. I hope they don't allow, I hope with this issue now, they no longer allow society pressure them. When I'm talking about society, I'm talking about family, I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about peer pressure. I hope this situation is a lesson for all, that tears is tears, and tears even inside Bentley can be more painful than tears inside Maruwa. I don't know if I'm getting clear. Yes, I saw that post on media and I was so disappointed. There are a lot of pressures on the youths of these days, both male and female. I hope we begin now to create programs like these that further educates young ones to see that this immediate luxury that is sick comes with a price. You know, I'm one person that is big on prices. If you tell me you love me, I ask you why. If whatever you give to me, I ask you why. Are these prices worth the sacrifices? You know, is it worth your peace of mind? Is it worth your comfort? Is this Bentley worth your sleep at night? So you are right when you say that that phrase mounted a lot of pressure on young ones, and that phrase, I would like to say it on air today, that is a demonic phrase that we must begin to cast and bind out of our society. We should now start retracing our steps. Yes.
Thank you very much, Precious, for that very deep insight. But we're going on a break right now, and we'll be right back with the two feisty women in my program today. Now, older men often walk away from scandals unscathed, while younger wives are branded unstable or ungrateful. Why is accountability so gendered? And has the media become a tool for justice or chaos in these domestic conflicts? Did you hear the question?
Yes, clearly. We are in a patriarchal system. We operate a patriarchal system in this part of the world. You know, I don't really go with the school of thought that other men win in marital issues. Nobody wins in marital issues. And if you as a man think you've won your wife in any marital issue, then you're not fit to be a man in the first place. I just wanted to set that record. But because of the system where we belong to, you know, these young lads are seen as gold diggers. There's nobody you want to explain to that you fell in love with someone old enough to be your grandfather. And I'll put it to them if they argue. If Ned Woko was not Ned Woko, if it was another man with same age bracket, would Regina have also, would she have fallen in love with the man? Would the mom have allowed the Regina, her daughter now, to get married to somebody of that age bracket that wasn't Ned Woko? And the answer is mostly no. So this is why society would look at the young person in the union as a gold digger, and they wish for your failure. They foretold themselves that this thing is going to break. It's not just particular to Regina Daniels. It's particular to any young person. It's just like seeing a young lad, a young man getting married to an older elderly white woman, an elderly white woman. There's nobody you want to convince that it's not because of green card or visa. There's nobody. And when issues come up in that union, oftentimes people would rejoice because they've already foreseen these issues. And it gives the elderly person the freedom, or gives them this freedom. I think that's the word, to misbehave. You know, your age keeps you in check all the time as a younger person in the relationship. Now, coming down to Senator Ned Woko's issue with Regina, of course, people will say Regina went into that place seeking for validation, seeking for luxury. Now she has gotten what she wants, forgetting the issues that is before us. It's not particular to them, but that is what is going on right now. Regina Daniel might have gotten into that marriage with love in sight, but because of the age bracket, people will judge her. People would not see any reason why she got into it in the first place. All they see now is a failed quest, which oftentimes give the older people a free pass for whatever misdemeanor or whatever misbehavior they would have acted during the time of the crisis in marriage. Okay. For the social media, I personally think that it has advantage and disadvantage. Yeah, personally. It gives room for people to now cry out. Before now that we didn't have social media, a lot of women, a lot of spouses suffered in their marriages. They didn't have the medium to cry out. And even when they went back to their families will tell you, I don't know about other tribes, but especially in the Igbo side, they tell you to just keep short. They tell you to bear. For the women, they tell you, you are the one who built your home. Just manage. Keep bearing, you know. So this social media now gives room for people to vent out when they no longer have someone close to talk to. Do you understand? It also has disadvantage. Those naysayers, those people who have foretold that this thing will crash, who have foreseen that it will crash, it gives them now room for mockery. They mock you. You've now brought your failures to the public, and you know it comes with so much ridicule. So it has an advantage. Social media in this has an advantage and disadvantage. And of course, because of the system we operate, older men will keep scatting away without dents, of course, in crisis like this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Precious, for your very deep insight. That was very eye-opening. Thank you so much for being with us on Perspectives. I really enjoyed our conversation together. So can we get back to Memuna, Dr. Memuna in the house? You know, usually in such unions, there's always the older man because he's wiser, and maybe the younger woman because she's none the wiser. There's always situations where there are no assets in her name, no safety nets in her name. He buys her all these things, but they're not put in her name. So how can a young woman at that, try to slowly begin to ensure that things are being put in her name without sounding or without coming across as suspicious or being a gold digger. To the husband?
That's where the family comes in. That's where loved ones comes in. Because if we assume that she's not as wise as the older person because of age, because of maturity, which is also emotional maturity, who are the people she's falling back on? who are the family members that she is, you know, that can advise her properly and say this is what she should get, this is how she should go about this. And this is where it really comes into play, because it's not only about just protecting that girl child, it's about helping to raise emotionally healthy families. Because we also need to also look at reimagine our culture through the lens of mental health and emotional equity. Why? Because when a man heals, women will thrive. And where women feel safe, the children grow stronger. And of course, when families are whole, nations heal. And when generations are healed, they help to break that cycle of trauma. So it's very pertinent that we bridge this gap. It's good that we're talking about things like this, because in a celebrity kind of marriage like this, there are young girls that are already waiting to go into such. So we have to teach that emotional intelligence. We have to teach that emotional healthy families, so that everybody can come apart and know that it's not about the girl who is into this marriage. It's about all of us. What is it telling us as a society when she doesn't have ears or safe space where she can open up and that can, of course, help her to move on from where she is.
It's good that you mentioned that, because I think that's one of the most difficult things in unions where you have such age gap or where you have such financial bias. Do you understand? Because many women have left their marriages with literally nothing on their backs.
Exactly.
Because everything that they had was paid for and provided for, but not in their name.
Yeah.
So someone like Regina now, who married at 18, and this perception of that her mother pushed her there. I don't know how wise they could have been to have ensured that these were parameters that were
put in place.
Put in place.
Because Mr. and Mrs. in-law is not Mr. and Mrs.
Exactly.
It must be Mr. Abu and Mrs. Regina, not Mr. and Mrs.
Anyway, let's get back. Let's get to exactly. Let's get to Inibehe in the house, please. Mr. Inibehe, okay, good to see you, Inibehe. So, as we've been discussing this...
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, dear. We've been discussing Regina Daniels and Nedu Woko's matter, and we were just talking about ensuring that you protect yourself as the financially weaker partner. So, obviously, naturally, there's some things called, there's the prenuptial agreement that most people do. So, with prenuptial agreement that favors one partner, can the court intervene on grounds of coercion or fairness or emotional exploitation? Can the person demand more?
Thank you. Thank you. On the issue of prenuptial agreement, the reality is that it is essentially a contract between spouses or intending spouses, as it would be. Before people get into marital contract, there is allowance for both parties to reach consensus on what the guiding principles of that relationship would be. And in undertaking a prenuptial agreement, certain factors are usually taken into consideration. What would be the benefit for the woman most times? And you would usually find prenuptial agreements in situations where one of the partners is very influential, is very financially more stable than the other. It is not very popular in Nigeria, but in the Western society, you would find a lot of celebrities, a lot of politically exposed persons go into prenuptial agreement. And that is based on the understanding that because of the nature of society, it is possible that after the marriage, the other party may want to seek divorce and then take advantage of that to benefit from the wealth that one of the parties may have accumulated over the years. Now, in this scenario, I'm not aware whether Nenwoko and Regina Daniel had or signed a prenuptial agreement. But what I do know is that Regina Daniel, who herself is a celebrity, having made a lot of impact in the entertainment industry, she knew what she was signing up for, right? We have the principle of voluntary non-fit injuria. To who consents, there can be no injury. So Regina Daniel knew that Nenwoko was a polygamist. He knew that when Nenwoko had admiration for certain kinds of women, he understood who Nenwoko was. So I don't want us to pretend that, oh, this was a naive girl, inexposed, somebody who
But
was
she was 16. How wise can she?
Very old man.
How wise can she be at 16 now?
Well,
Come on.
I don't know whether she was 16 or 18.
Apparently, she was 16 when she met him, married him at 18. How much wisdom can she have? If no matter how street smart she is, 18 is 18. So she might have known what she was getting into, but
the point I'm making
didn't underestimated what it took to survive in that kind of union. Maybe that's what you should say.
I think we are, yes, but let us not be too quick to assume that Regina Daniel is suffering. You will be surprised that a few days from now, both of them will be all loved up, in their Ferrari or limousine or power bike, displaying love and showcasing and peppering people on social media.
Yeah, but that doesn't
also conclude that the Regina Daniel and Nenwoko episode is over.
No.
Yes, but on the issue of prenuptial, can the court intervene? The answer is no, because it is contractual. Once it is shown that an agreement was entered into by two consenting adults and that they had what we call the contractual capacity, they had the mental capacity, they understood the nature of the agreement, they understood what they were signing, the court will not intervene. It is in the realm of private law for which the state does not have business with. Now, let me also highlight to you that Nenwoko, being a polygamist, married Regina Daniel under customary law. I think that is the point many people have missed. Their marriage is not regulated by statute, it's not regulated by the Marriage Act, it's not regulated by the Matrimonial Causes Act, it is regulated by native law and custom.
But doesn't that hold water?
What that presupposes is that...
Doesn't that hold water? Doesn't such marriage hold water?
No, it does.
Okay.
Well, it is marriage, but I'm saying that the reason why Nenwoko is able to have multiple wives is because he did not go through the English marriage with any of these women. So that makes it very easy for the marriage to be dissolved, right? All he simply has to do is probably just return the bride price. I do not believe that this is the end of the marriage between the two of them. As a matter of fact, after Senator Nenwoko came out to make some allegations accusing the wife of having involvement, taking drugs and all that, drugs abuse, I'm not sure Regina Daniel has countered or joined issues with him. That is suggestive that behind the scenes some interventions may be going on. But on a lighter note, I think this is also, again, another indication that all that glitters are not gold.
Yeah.
Nenwoko, that some Nigerians are familiar with, being a politically exposed person, somebody who likes to do things in his own way, I think Regina Daniel, in some sense, has also benefited from the relationship. So I'm not going to accept the premise that this lady is oppressed, that this lady is a victim. I don't think she's a victim.
Let me ask a question.
I think they just have issues in their marriage and they will resolve it.
Wait. I have to go back to that last phrase that you said, that you don't believe that she's a victim. Are you saying that because there's so much money involved in the union, there's so much the trappings of luxury and what have you, that a woman cannot be a victim under such circumstance?
Why can't a woman be a victim?
Because you just said now that she's not a victim.
Of domestic violence is... Yes, in the context of the age disparity, I don't want us to use age as a baseline for our conversation, because that would be very controversial. Except we are saying that he married her as a minor, in which case I will have objection to that. But if we show that she was 18, she had reached the age of consent. As a matter of fact, under the law, a 95-year-old man can marry a 19-year-old lady. Society can find it preposterous. People may find it repulsive, but the law doesn't have issue with it. If there was domestic violence, that is condemnable. I have zero tolerance.
But she has said that there was. She did say that there was domestic. She said there was domestic violence. She said it in her video.
Has she reported it? Has she reported to?
No, but the video we saw was what she said. I don't know whether she has filed, but I'm saying based on what we heard.
Nenwoko is not shown assaulting her. She's claiming. I watched the video. She said Nenwoko sent, in quote, his talks to harass her, that in her house she's a princess and a queen. In Nenwoko's house she's nothing.
The violence is too much.
Contrary to the impression we've been having over the years, which is an interesting. I'm saying that if the violence, domestic violence, has taken place, let her file a complaint with the police. Because I will not go to Nenwoko's house to intervene because I am an activist and knock at his gate and say, Senator Nenwoko, come out. Why are you assaulting Regina Daniel? I'm not going to do that. Let her file a complaint with the police. Let her present evidence of the assault, and some of us will be willing to, see how we can intervene in that regard. I don't want us to cry more than the bereaved.
Okay, now that you mentioned that, in this age of viral outrage where private fights play out online, how much legal weight do digital posts or videos actually carry? And can they hurt a case as much as they can help it in court? Can she use this in court?
Very well, very well. Well, under Section 84 of the Evidence Act, electronically generated evidence is admissible. All that the party simply has to do is to comply with the requirements of that section. You can do that by filing what we call a certificate of authentication, explaining the manner in which the electronically generated document was generated. So the things she has posted on the internet, that may have some bearing in court. The confusion, however, is that if you watch the video, all that we saw was an altercation, which almost resulted in a fisticuff between Regina Daniel on one hand and her siblings, and persons said to be, talks in quotes of Senator Nenwoko. So I do not know the background or the basis or what precipitated that drama. But if indeed there are electronic evidence of domestic abuse, yes, Regina Daniel may want to pursue an action if she deems fit. But don't forget, as long as they are still married, there's a limit to which the law can intervene. Because even within the purview of marriage, there are certain evidences that the court will not admit between parties. For example, conversations within couples. And that is to preserve the sanctity of marriage. That is why I keep saying that we have to be cautious in crying or speaking up for this victim of domestic violence. If she's truly a victim, if this man has truly been harassing her, tormenting her, abusing her in the marriage, let her speak up. Let her speak up. And then where is her mother? Where is Regina Daniel's mother in all this?
Exactly. In all of
this woman basically gave this young girl's hand in marriage when she was pretty young. We have not heard her voice. We used to see her in the private jet. Today we are not hearing her voice anymore.
I think I saw a post where she said that she had no say in who her daughter married, that she had to follow her daughter's wishes. That's what her daughter wanted.
How can she say she had no say?
In the post, since that's what the daughter wanted, that's what she followed, which I thought made her even come across as a bit, not too smart in her defense. Because how does a 16-year-old tell you she wants to date a 16-year-old man?
There is one question. There is one question that I'm interested in. Why did Regina Daniel marry Senator Nenwoko?
Well, the rumor,
for love?
Perception out there is that the mother gave her to him.
Generational survivor.
Generational survivor.
Not at gunpoint. Not at gunpoint. I don't think Regina Daniel was impecunious.
Some things are sharp.
She was fairly stable. This lady, this young girl that we are discussing, is a celebrity. She had made name for herself in Nollywood. Yeah. So I don't want us to pretend that this is some girl who was taken from the village. This girl had relative exposure.
Yeah, but
why did she marry Nenwoko, a man old enough to be her grandfather?
Yeah, but she was at...
She knows why she married him. Listen, so I don't want us to simply ignore that fact and pretend that...
No, let's be honest. She was at an impressionable age. No matter how exposed she was 16. How much can you know at 16 or even 18?
Impressionable.
Yes. 18 or 16 is a very impressionable age.
Well, maybe she was impressionable.
Yes, it is a very impressionable age.
Maybe she was impressionable.
Sorry?
I don't think...
Maybe you are agreeing.
My position is... that
I don't think you can undermine the role of the mother here. I don't think
you
can undermine the role of the mother here when it came to the union. I don't think you should undermine the role of the mother.
The question is, at the time they got married, was she 18? If she was 18, every other conversation is a moral conversation. Insofar as she was 18, the law cannot intervene because she has reached the age of consent under the Child Rights Act.
Okay, but Dr. Memuna is saying emotional
marital
maturity.
Consent.
How much emotional maturity can you have at 18, for crying out loud, to marry a man with 5 other wives? How much emotional maturity can you have? Yes. Which is where the role of the mother comes in as a guide.
Yes. I'm saying that I want us to remember who we are discussing. Regina Daniel. Regina Daniel, take Senator Nenwoko out of the equation for a moment. This young lady we are discussing had made a name for herself in the entertainment industry.
How much name could she have made? She was 16 and she wasn't a child actress. She started acting around that age. That's 16
I don't think she was manipulated. I don't agree that she was manipulated.
Maybe
Okay,
not manipulated, but
let's assume she was manipulated.
Influenced.
Okay, having been influenced while she was young to marry this man, having gone into the marriage, was she still under the influence? Why did she not leave all this while?
Dr. Maybe you should answer that.
So, the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, we cannot cry more than they bereaved.
Okay, yeah. Dr. Mimuna, answer that.
We cannot cry more than they bereaved.
Yeah,
let's Dr. Mimuna
the truth is
talk.
that there's a whole lot when it comes to when marriage like this, when the love lacks emotional literacy, fame cannot even save it. Why? Because when they are together, they are craving their connection, they are born. But when they're in public, they can be showing us all what we want to see. And they may be acting a movie that they didn't even audition for, where our opinions will be directing that movie. The gossip will be the one, intensifying it. And of course,
social media will be the cut of publicity.
Yes, and then we'll be streaming it on all our phones. So this is where we find ourselves. So it's not about, we need to talk about emotional maturity, no matter how exposed you are. There's a part of the anatomy, the science that plays a very significant role. I understand the part of the law, but when it comes to science, an 18-year-old, we still do what an 18-year-old will do. So we need to play. That's why guidance comes. That's why family members and that is very, very important. So in this kind of case, we pray for healing. And healing in cases like this is double-edged. She coming out to scream now can give and empower another young person to come out to talk about her own. But again, because they are in the public domain, it also, people can even start criticizing her, scrutinizing her, and that is where personal healing blurs with, public, coming out and say this is what it is. So, but I need to let them understand that social media amplifies trauma.
But how do you begin to heal under the lights of social media?
So social media amplifies trauma.
The weight of social media upon
that
you.
is it. Social media amplifies the memes, the analysis, and everything that has been trending this past
few days. So does she now step back?
Yes. So our healing must be SIP.
What's SIP?
Must be structured, must be intentional, and must be private. Okay. She must embrace self-compassion and leave public validation. She needs to heal privately, and it must be structured and intentional.
So